Aaron Hale woke up before sunrise, just like every day. The sky above the colony was pale blue, still quiet, still empty. His small farm stood on the edge of the human settlement on Arvos 9, a faraway planet where winters lasted long and resources were always short. Aaron lived alone in a small metal house, and sometimes the silence felt heavier than any work. He had lost his wife 2 years ago, and ever since then, every morning felt the same cold, slow, and heavy. But he never stopped working. Even when credits were low, even when the machines broke, even when he felt tired, he kept going. He stepped outside and breathed in the sharp morning air. His crops were weak this season. One of his tractors was almost broken. His tools needed repair. Everything demanded energy he barely had. But he still continued, because surviving was something humans did best, even alone. Wait. He kept moving forward. He walked toward his field when he heard a strange sound, something like thunder, but sharper. He looked up. A silver streak cut across the sky, falling fast. It wasn't a meteor. It was a ship. A small shuttle, spinning wildly, flames on its back. Aaron froze for a second, shocked. Crash landings were extremely rare in this quiet area. The shuttle dropped lower, closer until it disappeared behind the hill near his farm. A loud crash followed, sending a wave of dust rising into the air. Aaron did not think twice. Even though he was alone, even though he knew there could be danger, he ran toward the hill. A crash like that could mean someone was hurt. Humans always helped. That was something he believed in deeply. By the time he reached the site, his breath was heavy and sweat was on his forehead. The shuttle was half buried in the ground, smoke rising from its engine. The metal body was cracked open from the impact, glowing red from heat. Aaron stepped carefully, listening for movement. He heard a soft sound like someone trying to breathe. He rushed toward the broken doorway and found a young girl lying inside.
Half-conscious.
She looked around 19, with soft gray-blue skin and hair that shimmered like silver strands. She wasn't fully human, but she wasn't fully alien either. Her features were gentle, and she looked frightened, weak, and exhausted. Aaron slowly crouched near her. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes opened, slightly large, bright, and filled with fear. "Please, don't leave me." "I won't," Aaron said quickly. "I'm here to help." He extended his hand, making sure his voice stayed calm. The girl looked at him again, trying to understand if he was a threat. But Aaron's face showed simple concern, nothing more, nothing less. She reached out to him, trembling. Aaron took her hand carefully and helped her sit up. Her body was light, and she seemed injured, but not fatally. He guided her out of the shuttle and carried her a few steps away from the burning metal. When they reached the ground, she took a few deep breaths. Her hands shook. She kept looking around as if expecting someone to chase her. Aaron sat beside her. "What happened? Are you hurt?" She swallowed hard before answering. "My name is Lyra, and I'm trying to escape." He noticed her voice was soft, unsure. She looked young, but carried a sadness far beyond her age. "Escape from what?" Aaron asked. She hesitated, her hands tightening around her knees. "From the people who want to take me? I was supposed to leave my planet with my parents. They tried to save me. They put me in a shuttle to send me far away because someone dangerous is looking for me." Aaron listened carefully. She didn't look like she was lying. Her fear was real. "What do they want from you?" he asked. She looked down for a moment. "I have something inside me. An ability. It lets me sense energy patterns in space. Some factions want to use it for war. My parents wanted me to be safe, far from their enemies. They gave me coordinates and told me to hide with someone who could help me. But I think the attackers followed." Aaron understood enough. She wasn't dangerous. She wasn't running away from her family. She had been sent away to survive. So the crash wasn't an accident, Aaron said quietly. Lyra nodded. "They shot at me. I barely escaped. My shuttle lost power. And now, if they find me, I don't know what they'll do." Aaron felt a strong, protective instinct rise inside him. This girl had been alone, hunted, and nearly killed. And now she was on his land, shaking, terrified, and without anyone else to turn to. "You're safe now," he said. "I won't let anything happen to you." She looked up at him, surprised. "But you don't even know me." Aaron shook his head. "I don't need to." "Someone is in danger." "That's enough for any human." Her eyes softened. She didn't speak, but she didn't need to. Relief spread across her face for the first time. Aaron stood and helped her walk back to his house. She moved slowly, still weak. When they reached the small home, he gave her water and set a blanket around her shoulders. She sat quietly, studying her surroundings. His home was small, simple, filled with tools, old memories, and worn furniture. But it felt warm to her, safe. After a few moments, she asked, "You live alone?" "Yes," Aaron answered. "Lost my wife 2 years back. Since then, it's just me." Her expression softened. "I'm sorry." He shrugged slightly. "Life is difficult sometimes. But we keep moving." Lyra watched him closely. She saw something she had not expected: strength in his eyes. Not the kind that came from power, but the kind that came from surviving hardship. She felt a strange comfort sitting there with him. Suddenly, a distant humming noise filled the air. Lyra's eyes widened immediately. "They're here." Aaron walked to the window. Several dark shapes moved across the sky drone, scanning the surface. They were searching, and they were getting closer. "Stay down," Aaron said firmly. He moved quickly, shutting off the lights and pulling the curtains closed. His hands moved with practiced steadiness. Lyra watched him, amazed at how calm he was, even when danger came so fast. "Will they find us?" she whispered. "Not if I hide us properly." He grabbed old metal sheets, thermal blankets, and tools. With surprising skill, he began sealing windows, covering heat sources, and blocking signals. He had lived on Arvos 9 long enough to know how to avoid detection. The colony had been attacked by pirates before. Aaron had learned survival through experience. Lyra stood and helped him, her fear slowly changing into trust. She watched him work with determination, using whatever he had. Humans had a strange ability, making something out of nothing. Even in the middle of danger, Aaron looked steady, focused. It's almost fearless. As the drones flew lower, their scanning beams passed over his house. The sound grew louder, sharper. Lyra held her breath. Aaron stood beside her, protecting her with his presence alone. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the sound faded. The drones moved away. Lyra exhaled shakily. "They almost found me." "But they didn't," Aaron said. "You're safe here." She looked at him again, her eyes softer than before. "Why are you helping me so much?" "You don't even know who I really am." Aaron sat down across from her. "I know enough. You were in trouble. You didn't deserve it, and no one should face danger alone." She felt her chest warm with a feeling she had not felt in a long time: hope. "You must be very strong," she said quietly. Aaron smiled faintly. "Not strong, just human." Lyra did not fully understand those words, but she felt something powerful behind them. She had heard stories about Earth-human stuff, clever, stubborn, and protective of anyone who needed help. But seeing it in front of her was different. She asked softly, "What will happen when the bigger ship arrives?" Aaron turned toward her slowly. "Bigger ship?" "Yes," she said. "The drones always come first. Then the main ship arrives to capture the target. That is normally how they hunt." Aaron stayed silent for a moment. Then he stood and looked out the window. Above the horizon, in the far distance, a faint red glow appeared in the sky. It wasn't there a minute ago, and it was growing brighter. Lyra whispered, "That's their ship. They found my trail." Aaron's jaw tightened. His hands curled slightly, but his voice stayed calm. "Then we don't stay here." She looked confused. "Where will we go?" "To my old cargo ship," Aaron said. "It's old, but it still works. We leave the colony before they get here." Lyra's eyes widened. "You're going with me?" "Of course," Aaron replied. "I can't let you face them alone." Her lips parted slightly, not knowing what to say. She felt something deep inside: gratitude mixed with disbelief. Humans were unlike any species she knew. They didn't need power or wealth to be brave. Even a struggling widower could stand against danger without hesitation. Aaron went to gather supplies, food packs, tools, energy cells. Lyra followed, still unsteady but stronger than before. She stopped him for a moment. "Aaron, thank you," placed a hand on her shoulder, gentle but firm. "Stay close to me. We'll survive this together." Outside, the sky darkened as the enemy ship grew larger. The ground shook faintly as the engines hummed across the atmosphere. Lyra felt fear return. But it didn't overpower her not when Aaron was beside her. She whispered, "Humans, you're different from the galaxy." Aaron opened the door and looked out, ready to face whatever came next. "Maybe," he said. "But today, being human means saving you." Side by side, they stepped into the night. The world ahead was dangerous, uncertain, and full of enemies. But Lyra felt hope for the first time since her escape began, because beside her walked a human widower who refused to give up, no matter how difficult life became. As they headed toward the old cargo ship, hidden behind Aaron's workshop, the red glow in the sky brightened, signaling the arrival of the enemy. Part 1 ends with Aaron and Lyra preparing to flee into space, their futures tied. Aaron and Lyra moved quickly through the cold night, the wind carrying dust from the hills as the red glow in the sky grew brighter behind them. Lyra kept looking back, fear showing in her eyes every few steps, but Aaron stayed calm. His steps were steady, his breathing controlled, his expression firm. Even though he had lived alone for years, the presence of danger did not freeze him. It focused him. They reached a large shed built from old metal sheets and damaged colony crates. Aaron pushed open the door, revealing a long, dust-covered ship inside. It was old, so old that some parts were patched with different colors and materials. The surface had scratches, dents, and marks of age. But to Aaron, it was precious. He had repaired it piece by piece over the past years, hoping that one day he could use it for trade or travel. He never knew he would need it for escape. Lyra stepped inside slowly. "Can this ship fly?" Aaron switched on a small lantern and checked the control board. "It should. I tested the engines last month. They're not fast, but they work." Lyra looked around, still nervous. "Their ship is much bigger, much stronger." Aaron turned toward her. "Maybe, but size doesn't always win. Speed, timing, and courage matter too, and we have all three." She studied his face, searching for doubt, but found none. That gave her strength. Together they climbed into the cockpit. Aaron powered up the ship. The engines rumbled loudly at first, then stabilized. Dust and old cloth sheets shook from the walls as the machine came alive for the first time in months. Lyra watched the lights flicker on the dashboard, amazed that a human could repair so many broken things with simple tools and determination. Outside, the enemy ship descended lower. A deep vibration passed through the ground. Aaron knew they had seconds, not minutes. He gripped the controls. "Hold on." The cargo ship rose slowly, climbing above the shed. The old engine strained, coughing smoke for a moment, but Aaron tapped the side panel with practiced confidence. The engine steadied. Lyra held the seat tightly, trusting him completely. The ship shot upward. Breaking through the first layer of clouds below them, the large enemy ship scanned the surface. Its dark hull glowed with red symbols, spreading sharp beams of energy in all directions. Aaron maneuvered his ship to stay away from the scanning zone. He knew the enemy would not expect an old cargo ship to escape so quickly. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, sensing the patterns around them. "They don't see us yet, but they will soon." "Then we need to get to orbit," Aaron replied. "Once we reach open space, we'll use the asteroid fields to hide." Lyra nodded. She watched him navigate with surprising accuracy. His hands moved confidently across controls he had built from scrap for years. He did not look frightened. He looked alive, but as they reached the upper atmosphere, a sudden alarm beeped on the dashboard. A small screen flashed red. "They found us," Lyra whispered. 3 fast attack drones appeared behind them, glowing blue as they prepared to fire. Aaron cursed under his breath and pushed the engine to its limit. The cargo ship vibrated hard, but he did not stop. "We can't outrun them in open space," Lyra said. "They're too fast." "We're not outrunning them," Aaron replied. "We're outsmarting them." He pulled the ship sharply to the left, dipping into a narrow cloud tunnel that curved around a small floating ice platform. The drones followed, their beams slicing the air. Lyra felt her heart race. Aaron twisted the ship again, diving downward toward the ice clouds. The drones came close to close, but his sudden turn made the first drone crash into the side of the ice platform. A burst of blue sparks filled the air. Lyra gasped. "How did you do that?" Aaron replied without looking away from the controls. "Flying through storms and dangerous weather is normal on this planet. You'll learn a few tricks." 2 drones remained. They kept chasing, their lights flashing rapidly as they locked onto the cargo ship again. Aaron flew upward with great force, and the ship shook violently. Lyra held onto the seat tightly, her breath uneven. Aaron's voice remained calm. "Hold on. Almost there." They broke through the atmosphere and entered open space. Stars spread wide in every direction. Darkness wrapped around them like a quiet sea. But the drones followed. Aaron turned to Ward. "Lyra, tell me where the nearest asteroid field is. You can sense it, right?" Lyra closed her eyes and focused. Her unique ability let her feel energy, movement, and gravitational waves around distant objects. Within seconds, she pointed ahead. "They're 30 degrees, right?" Aaron followed her direction without question. The asteroid field appeared like a giant maze of floating rocks. It was dangerous, unpredictable, and constantly shifting. But it also offered cover from sensors. Aaron entered the field, weaving between giant stones that floated in slow motion. The drones were still behind them, but the rocks made it harder for them to lock on. Lyra felt the energy of each moving rock and guided Aaron with soft, quick instructions. "Turn left. Lower the speed. Wait now. Go right." Aaron followed her voice closely. Together they formed a team, his skills and her abilities blending seamlessly. In that moment, Lyra realized humans were not strong because of muscles or weapons. They were strong because of the courage to trust, to fight, and to protect. A large rock rotated ahead, creating a temporary tunnel between 2 massive asteroids. "There," Lyra said. "If we pass through that space at the right moment, the drones will crash." Aaron smiled slightly. "Let's try it." He waited, counting the seconds, watching the rock shift. Then he pushed the ship forward at full power. The engines roared loudly. The cargo ship shot through the narrow gap just before the 2 asteroids. Collided, the drones tried to follow, but they were too fast. The 2 massive rocks slammed together, crushing the drones in a burst of metal fragments and sparks. Lyra's hands trembled. "We did it." Aaron leaned back in his seat, catching his breath. Not bad for an old cargo ship. For the first time since the crash, Lyra smiled fully. Not bad for a human. But the danger was not over. Lyra turned pale. The main ship, it's still coming, and it's much harder to escape from. Aaron stared ahead. The field of stars looked peaceful, but somewhere behind them was a ship that could overpower their small vessel easily. "We need allies," Aaron said. "There's a human defense station not far from here. If we can reach it, we'll be safe." He set the coordinates and pushed the engine again. Hours passed. Lyra fell asleep for a short time, exhausted. Aaron covered her with a blanket and continued flying, focused and calm. Watching over her made him feel like his life finally had meaning again. After losing his wife, he had felt empty for so long. But now he felt alive, because he was protecting someone who needed him. When Lyra awoke, Aaron pointed out the window. A large structure floated in the distance, a human defense station with bright blue lights and wide metal wings. "We made it," Lyra said softly. But a sudden alarm rang again. Aaron checked the sensors. His face hardened. "They found us again," he whispered. The enemy ship appeared behind them, huge, dark, and powerful. It glowed like a giant shadow in the starfield, preparing to fire. Aaron contacted the station. "This is Aaron Hale of Arvo's colony. I'm transporting a civilian under attack, requesting immediate support." The station responded at once. Aaron, we see you. Hold your course. We're sending fighters. For human defense fighters shot out of the station, racing toward the enemy ship. They formed a protective line around Aaron's cargo ship. Lyra watched with awe. Humans came so fast. ... We protect our own, Aaron said softly. And now you're one of us. The fighters reached the enemy ship and fired warning rounds. The alien vessel hesitated. It scanned the area. The human station powered up its defense cannons. The message was clear: if the enemy continued the chase, they would face a full human response. Slowly, the alien ship turned away. It drifted back into the dark, finally retreating. Lyra felt her chest loosen, relief washing over her like a warm wave. Aaron, you saved me. Aaron shook his head. We saved you. Humans, together. The station guided them to land inside. As they stepped out, human officers rushed forward, checking Lyra's injuries and guiding her to safety. She looked back at Aaron, as if afraid to be separated. He walked beside her. I'm not leaving. You're not alone anymore. Her eyes softened. When I met you, I thought I wouldn't survive. And now, I feel safe for the first time. You're young. You have a life ahead of you. This is just the beginning. Officers placed them in a small room to rest. Lyra sat close to Aaron, feeling warmth and comfort near him. She whispered, Your people. Your courage? It's different from the galaxy. Aaron looked at her with calm eyes. Humans are simple. We work hard. We protect each other. And even when life is difficult, we stand up again. Lyra nodded slowly. I want to stay here. I want to learn more about you. About humans. Aaron felt something warm fill his chest. You're welcome here, as long as you need. For the first time in years, Aaron didn't feel alone. And for the first time in her life, Lyra felt safe. They looked out the window at the stars, knowing their journey had just begun to lives connected by danger, trust, and the quiet strength of humanity. Their future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Lyra had found a new home, and Aaron had found someone who reminded him why he still lived, why he still fought, and why humans never stopped protecting those who needed them. And somewhere in the deep silence of space, the stars shone brighter, marking the beginning of a new chapter for both of them, one built on courage, hope,